Okie dokie. 1302. This one is a fun one. All right. Notice of determination. Eligibility for unemployment benefits. So you can basically tune out for the first two sentences because it's specific to me or it's just gobbledygook. Issues and sections of Michigan Employment Security MES Act involved reporting, which is certifying, and 28 Section 1 Part A. You filed a pandemic unemployment assistance claim on May 21st to begin March 15th in 2020. So, alright, tune in now. Sentence number 3. You were required to submit documentation substantiating your employment or self-employment or planned commencement of employment or self-employment by May 17th, 2021. Okay, that is a reference to letter 1713, which I filled out and sent in and attached the, well, I shouldn't say sent in, I submitted it electronically through the MyWAM dashboard there, and attached the required, what was it? I uploaded the 1713 and my 2019 tax return. Okay. So, they're saying what the requirement was. Alright. And then they say, next sentence, you did not report as directed. Well, that gives me a lot of questions, but we'll just go on and see what else we have here. You are not eligible for benefits under MES Act Section 28, Section 1, Part A, and the Continued Assistance Act, Section 241, beginning January 2nd through September 4th, 2021. Okay. Okay. Because you failed to provide proof of employment as required, you were overpaid benefits beginning with the week ending January 2nd, 2021. Therefore, restitution is owed in accordance with Section 62 of MES Act. Okay. Alright, let's just keep reading for now. If applicable, principal and penalty amounts are shown on Form 1301. Oh, see? Great. They are interrelated. As I stated in the 1301 video, weeks of overpayments. Alright, okay, here we go. If you disagree with this determination, refer to protest rights on the reverse side of this form. The protest must be received no later than 8/9 of 2021. Okay. So, I'm being told that I was required to, substantiate my employment or self-employment, or planned commencement of employment or self-employment. Okay, all right, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. That's what 1713 was for, and I filled that out. I sent it in, and was, I'll do another video about 1713, but I was careful to read it and read it for meaning, insofar as it's possible to read any of these documents for meaning. The windy foggery of the language and the contradictory, suggestions, allegations, and expectations are quite thick to try and muddle through, and there's a reason for that, Let's back up to the first paragraph here. you were required to submit documentation. Okay, I already said that I did that. Good. That's where I was now. So, you, paragraph 2, you did not report as directed. Huh. First thing that comes to mind is, are you sure? And being that they're not here for me to ask them, I guess I'll assume that, at least according to their own understanding, that they do have some certainty of this. Again, it is a fact. It is an opinion which is disguised as a fact. An opinion which is disguised as a fact is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and therefore it constitutes a deception. Okay? You did not report as directed. Well, that's a conclusion, and it must be based on some evidence in order to be self-justifying. The very basic, most basic principle of human interchange is that everybody likes to say what's so. Everybody likes to say the way things are. A declarative period at the end, said with emphasis kind of sentence. You did not report as directed. Well, a declarative sentence such as that, a declarative statement, is sometimes referred to as a claim. And a claim is simply a statement that the speaker has come to understand as essentially a matter of fact. However, in order to state something that's a matter of fact, it's not good enough just to say it. It's not good enough just to make the claim, okay? But you need to be willing to provide some evidence to your listeners of what facts that claim or conclusion is based on. So, again, in a situation which is 100% dependent on the individual specific facts of the case being decided, they provide no facts and merely a conclusion. That would be like me cracking open a law book, pointing to one of the statutes, and then running up to you and just screaming the word guilty while I'm pointing at the law. Okay? I'm not, and that's it. And I'm believing that should be enough to prove to everybody that you're guilty. Well, wait a second. Let's back up. To say the claim that the law was broken, or you did not report as directed, or this is a list of the weeks that you were overpaid. Whoever makes a claim like that, the burden of proof is on the person who's stating the claim. So, if I want to say 1 + 1 is 2, and I was going to offer some proof, in that case I might because it's mathematical, I might go to physical proof. I might have, 2 cans of soup, and I would show them both to you, and if I have 1 can and then I add another can, everybody would agree 1, 2, that's 2 cans total now. That's a weird example because I switched to a physical representation instead of the words. But okay, well, we'll use this example. Okay, you did not report as directed. Now, in my mind, there are like multiple ways that could be true. The trouble with it is, maybe it was late. Maybe they never received it. Maybe it was lost in transit. Maybe on their end there was some kind of glitchy thing where the tax return didn't attach. It could be that I got some kind of wonky version of the 1713 letter that had the wrong, certification dates on it or whatever. And so maybe their understanding of what I was supposed to do and my understanding of what I was supposed to do, maybe it's different. And so, maybe I did what the directions said, but they're working with a different, it's not infinite, but it starts to head that direction when you consider all of the possibilities that could cause someone to arrive at that conclusion you did not report as directed. So this letter is, at least, according to my understanding, very much bordering on, something that's shady in origin, because if their desire was for, people to be able to, in other words, if the interest was for justice, okay, they would state here clearly the facts that the determination is based on. You see, in a situation that's facts specific, all they did was state the conclusion based on the unnamed, unknown facts, and then the next thing they do is point to the statute. It's like saying, you broke the law, and here's the number, 128.29946. Without saying what your actions were that they believe constitutes, the violation of whatever the rule is. So, how would I possibly have any hope of an authentic, honest, transparent right to protest this determination without being supplied the facts that it's based on? If they said the facts that it's based on, I could then kind of come to my own conclusion. I could say, oh boy, I see, they're saying I did it this way. Oh, I understand. Yeah, I screwed up. It's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not perfect. I'll be the first person to tell you that I'm not perfect and I know nothing. I don't claim to know a lot of stuff. I know what's in front of me. And what's in front of me is, it's an accusation or an allegation which is presented in the format of a final judgment. Okay? But, like, in court, if there was a final judgment, you know, you'd have, like, some transcripts that you could go back and look over, and you could access those and order those, or, you know, I mean, you might have your own notes from the courtroom, or you were there in person, so you know what happened. But to just say the requirement and then say that I did not report as directed, I mean, that makes it sound like I never got off my ass and did anything. Really. And yet, I know that not to be the case. Language like that is... The whole construction of this notice of determination is offensive because, you know, notice is a good thing, and determination is an inevitable thing in life. Whenever somebody's attempting to make a determination, they're supposed to give you notice. That's fundamental fairness, or what we would call the most basic due process rights. The most basic due process rights are notice and opportunity, in a word each. Notice and opportunity. So, in the longer form, notice is the kind of cause and nature of what is going on, and that's a Sixth Amendment thing, the right to know the cause and nature of an allegation. But I don't want anybody to go telling the unemployment people that they busted up the Sixth Amendment, because I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. I'm merely saying to you that a basic right, which is respectful of the fundamental dignity of the human person, is that you don't go around deciding about people's actions without giving them some input and some opportunity to defend those actions, or to defend against the allegation completely. So, whenever there's an allegation against you, you have the right to know the cause and the nature. The cause is everything that happened in the past, and the nature is like how the procedure's going to go, when you get your day in court or whatever. Nature and cause of an allegation. Those are the two most basic pieces, nature and cause, that have to be included in anything that purports to be a notice. We're letting you know you've been presumed to have violated blah blah blah, and here's why we think that. But this notice of determination, they don't even bother with here's why we think that. In a situation that's fact specific, they say you're guilty, and then they go right into citing the law, citing the statute. They skipped over the most important part of what the notice should contain, which is the facts specific to you that were used to arrive at the determination. And the omission of that, coupled with the encouragement to protest if you disagree, is a slap in the face. I mean, if you really think it through, it insults the intelligence of the recipient, because they're patting you on the head saying, oh, don't get all worked up. You know, you can always appeal this. And if you're right, you're right. And it's like, well, thanks for that reassurance, but I'd much rather have the facts that you used. I mean, I might take one look at those facts and say, that's crap. That's not how it went down. And I have my records, and I have my screenshots, and my whatever else, and I can prove it. So there's the substance of my protest. Well, that's never going to happen because you don't have that information. That leaves you forced literally to guess. You know, there's no way to call and find out. You just have to guess why they made that determination the way they did. And then you have to try to protest using your guess. And talk about futile. I mean, if you guess the wrong reason, your whole protest is null and void. And they're sending you to the back of the line for, 20 more weeks. I don't even know how many more weeks. At least 20 weeks. When you go to the back of the line, another 20 weeks. I mean, the idea that they send you to the back of the line, the idea that they claim to have made a fair and meaningful determination, and it has a finality to it if you don't protest. And they're saying, but go ahead and protest if you want. But you'll be in the back of the line if you protest. And good luck protesting because, you don't even know which facts were used. So how could you possibly correct them or challenge them or whatever else? I mean, the whole thing is a fucking joke. And you'll see in some other videos, trying to get them to say why they made their determination is pulling teeth, to say the least. And if you're not real savvy about it, you may end up taking into your own heart an explanation of why a determination was made against you, which is merely a guess from the agent on the telephone. Because as we will see through a repeated Socratic questioning of the customer service agents who are provided, they do not have access to any information which is beyond what's contained in the letters. And so when you ask them why, some of them may be honest and tell you, I don't know, I don't have that information, and I can't get it, which would be the honest answer. Other agents who don't want to deal with the conflict of speaking that truth to you have been found to make something up. And I don't know about you, but I find that infuriating. The idea that someone would guess as to why my fate has been pointed in a certain direction, knowing that that's all I have to go on to challenge that determination, and not caring that it might or might not be accurate. I'll have to get back to you. I'd have to think about it to really be sure of what word really comes to mind for how that makes me feel. But for starters, that makes me feel incandescent, because you're messing with my reality when you tell me that things are a certain way. This decision was based on this. If I'm taking your word for it, I'm reconforming my reality to what you have said. Unless, like in this case, I'm not reconforming my reality because they haven't said enough information to make me reconform my reality. Meaning, like, this notice of determination is, in one sense, it's not upsetting to me at all. Because it is so blatant in its sneakiness, in its in its utter vagueness, that I consider this determination actually to be void for vagueness, which is another constitutional idea here in the U.S. Anything which is too vague for two people to agree on its meaning is considered a nullity under our political philosophy, if you will. Okay? So, if a law is too vague for two police officers to agree on how to enforce it, you can go to court and argue that it's void for vagueness. So this would be a bit of a stretch of that traditionally applied, textbook example, but the parallels are unmistakable. This determination is void for vagueness, and that makes the idea of protesting it, or the suggestion that you should protest it, absolutely laughable. It's absurd. Thanks for listening.